If you're an ESL teacher and you teach young language learners, do you ever come out of the classroom at the end of a lesson with that feeling of, yeah, that went pretty well. I feel quite confident with that. Yeah, it went smoothly. Yes, I feel quite positive. Or do you sometimes come out of a lesson sometimes feeling a little bit, no, it didn't quite go as I expected it to go. Why is that? Why is it sometimes lessons go really smoothly and we feel that we're connecting with students, we feel that their energy is really there and the children are really focused, and then other lessons we just don't feel like we're gelling. Children are unfocused, there's a bit of a classroom management difficulties there, and we just feel that this doesn't go well. Hello, I'm Miranda and I teach young children English as a second language through drama. And I wanted to share with you a few tips of how to maintain our students' focus for longer and also keep that overall harmonious classroom atmosphere going. Okay, so let's start with a few tips. So here we go. First of all, positive energy creates positive energy. And you're thinking, oh, what does that mean? Well, for me, energy is fundamental. I come from a theatrical background, let's say I'm an actor. So I think that teaching young children English is very similar to acting on stage in front of an audience, because when an actor comes on stage for the first time in a play and performs in front of an audience, his positive energy, his body language, his voice projection, his eye contact, facial expressions are fundamental in engaging with that audience. Because if he is unable to engage with that audience, what happens? Well, in Shakespeare's time, for example, he would probably get a load of tomatoes thrown at him if the audience got bored. But nowadays, people just kind of like look at their telephones, chat between each other, or maybe stand up and walk out of the theatre if they're really bored. And us teachers, when we walk into a classroom for the very first time, it's very, very similar. Children have this magical ability of like between 5-10 seconds understanding from your energy if you're worthwhile following or not. So your energy, your voice projection, your facial expressions, your eye contact are all really, really important in maintaining and creating a positive atmosphere in the classroom, energy, transferring your energy to your students, and also being able to understand the energy levels if they need at some point in the lesson being juggled up a little bit and more energy needed, or if we need to simmer that energy down, and we can control that ourselves by feeling the energy in the classroom. So positive energy creates positive energy because the energy that we give our students, a lot of the time our students also mirror our energy. So they mirror what kind of energy we have too. And that will help us engage with our students and maintain their focus for longer. So positive energy creates positive energy. What's number 2? Remember what it's like to play as a child. There is a famous quote by Fred Rogers who says, "For children, playing is serious learning." Now, the only thing is with this phrase here, this quote, 2 things. A lot of the time we teachers, we think that playing is a little bit of an extra activity. It's not regarded as the activity to introduce language, for example. So we use it for like, okay, play during break time, but not during the lesson. The other thing is that when we get older, the older we get, we have naturally a completely different perception of what play is. What I find enjoyable, what I think is really playful, is not necessarily the same as what a child of 4, 5, 6, 7-year-olds would find also playful themselves. So when I come to introduce new language into a lesson and I have my language that I want to present to my students, a lot of the time that I want to introduce an activity, maybe students will find that really, really boring because I might find it fun, but they don't. So what I try and tend to do is when I'm preparing a lesson is to actually think, okay, this activity that I want to present to my students with this target language, would my inner 4-year-old find that interesting, find it fun, find it enjoyable? If my answer is no, then what I try and do is, okay, think, how can I adapt it then to make it more interesting, to make it more fun for my students? If I find that there's no way that I can adapt it, what do? Throw it away and get a new activity and try and see with the same target language, but see how I can make that more interesting. Okay, so keep that in mind. Eliminate those logistics and the logic and the restraints that adults often have, and let's keep in the minds of our children how they would find lessons more interesting. Right, rules set students up for success. Rules set up students for success. This is really fundamental because a lot of the time we teachers, we assume that our students automatically know how to behave in our classrooms. But the thing is that they don't. A lot of the time, students come to our classrooms, maybe they have different rules or different regulations in other classes with other teachers, and at home they also have different rules and different regulations at home, but maybe they're not necessarily the same as the ones that you would like to introduce to them. So what happens is that we start our lessons and then the classroom management becomes a little bit more difficult, and only when the issues arise we start to think, okay, let me think rules, and we start introducing the rules then, which becomes often a little bit too late. What is useful is the very first day we set out some ground rules for our students to help them know how they are to behave in our lessons. And in that way, our students know exactly what is expected of them, and they feel more safe and secure as well, an environment that they know, okay, I know how to behave, the other students know how to behave. It's very, very clear. And we're very clear also about the consequences if we don't behave in that way. And that automatically sets your students up for success and also your classroom up for success. It will be a lot less stressful if you set those ground rules. Okay, next one. Refocus. Help refocus with the power of music. If at times, sometimes that you can just feel that energy just losing a little bit of classroom control there, a bit chaotic, how do we refocus students really, really quickly? The quickest way, a magical way to do that is often to use music, a song, singing. Because as soon as students are, maybe they're all distracted, they're all doing their own thing, chatting, but as soon as music comes on, you start singing, whoa! It's incredible how it involves the whole group and helps the whole group refocus. And also 10 minutes of singing is sometimes a lot more useful and a lot more productive rather than 1 hour of just drilling language. So never underestimate the power of music. And I don't necessarily mean like music like a nursery rhyme. I mean like groovy music, yeah, with a beat. That's not very trendy, is it? But something that really gets children motivated and something poppy. Yes, they want to involve them in today's music, not like 300 years ago. Okay, music, the power of music. Okay, next one. Make everyone feel special. Another way of balancing the classroom atmosphere and involving the whole of the class is to make everyone feel special. Not only those students, there are some students that we have also always in class that are like really hungry for attention. Yeah, I can answer it. Yeah, I want to do it. Yeah. There are those students that are fantastic, great, but there are also lots of other students who are maybe more introvert, those ones that kind of a little bit more go to the back of the classroom, a little bit more invisible. They aren't necessarily there, I know, but they do want to and need to be considered by us and our attention given to them. So one way that we can do that to balance out that atmosphere in class is to involve them, to help them come out of their shell and feel more confident. And what you could do is like maybe give them a little task of helping give out some materials in the classroom, or help recollect the materials at the end of an activity. That makes them feel a little bit more important and involved in the class, and balancing out that classroom atmosphere so everybody feels special and important. Yes. And last one, flops help build successes. Success. Yes, now, we all have lesson flops. It's perfectly normal that we all have lesson flops. But what is important that when we do come out of a lesson, it's like, no, that didn't go very well. I'm not happy with that lesson. But what is important that after that does happen is that maybe we go back home. We're not too hard on ourselves. You know, we don't beat ourselves up. Oh no, it went really badly. But we try and understand exactly what went wrong and try to adapt our lessons. Say, okay, what went wrong? Why did it go wrong? Was it my energy? Was I too energetic? Was I too boring? Was I not involving everybody in the same way? What strategies then can I use to bring into my lessons to make it better the next time? So tomorrow is always a new day and we can always start afresh. There's no problem there at all. So here are a few tips of how to maintain children's focus for longer and to create a more harmonious atmosphere in the classroom. I'm Miranda, thanks for watching. Give it a try, those few tips. And remember, until next time, be theatrical.